What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Fireside Baseball channel. So today we have another round of voting that has dropped. This dropped yesterday afternoon at 1:30. It's phase 2 of the MLB All-Star voting. I kind of want to run through this, see where the results are at right now, and I'm actually going to give you guys my picks for who I think should go through and be the starters for the All-Star game in about 2 weeks. So as currently constructed, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is 55% over Ben Rice at 45%. At shortstop, Bobby Witt Jr. has a 72% advantage over Andres Gimenez. Junior Caminero owns a 67% chance over Kazuma Okamoto at third base. Yordan Alvarez is dominating George Springer at 69% of designated hitter. Shea Langoliers is taking the lead over Alejandro Kirk at the catcher position. And as far as the outfielders go, Mike Trout, Byron Buxton, Aaron Judge, Cody Bellinger, I think are the four that get in. No, it's the three. I apologize. I'm an idiot. It's like I don't know how baseball works. I'm talking on a baseball channel. So your starters right now are Mike Trout, Byron Buxton, and Aaron Judge. Obviously, Aaron Judge with the injury will not play in the game, so it is Cody Bellinger instead, with Jesus Sanchez and Dalton Varsho looking in from the outside. So what I kind of want to do is roll through each position. I'm going to give you guys my picks, and this is purely stat-based, and I promise you, I'm not going to have 1 million Blue Jays starting in this American League All-Star lineup. So let's get right into it. Let's start with first base. So the first position that we're going to tackle today is the first base position. And listen, guys, when you look at this comparison, I don't think it's particularly close. And I also think that this is something that's greatly being carried by the Canada bias. Granted, it's an entire country voting against one team or just one state, or regardless who's voting for each of these positions. That's why we've seen this crazy influx of Blue Jays players in this second phase of All-Star voting. So we have Ben Rice versus Vladimir Guerrero Jr., which, listen, when you break it down, it's not particularly close. It doesn't necessarily depend on which stat metric you really want to look at it. Ben Rice kind of dominates Vladimir Guerrero Jr. in relatively every single field. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has been a below league average hitter this year with a 91 OPS plus, and I think the WRC plus is also below league average as well. Ben Rice has a 151 OPS plus on the season with a 916 OPS, 22 home runs. He's been the first, if not the second best first baseman in the American League this season. I thought that Kurtz should have gotten through to the second round of this voting, but when you really break it all down, Vladdy does not deserve to be here whatsoever. I think that the $500 million contract is one of the grosser ones in Major League Baseball that we're going to look at over the next couple of seasons. If he doesn't come through, it's not going to be one that we look at as super pretty like a Shohei Ohtani with the $700 million figure as well. So I think that the clear-cut option here has to be Ben Rice. Sorry, Vladdy, but I don't think that he belongs anywhere near this sort of ranking. If for me personally, I know that I'm a Yankee fan, and obviously I'm going to throw a little bit of my bias in here with the Yankee stuff with Ben Rice, but I think that he deserves to start this game. If anything, Paul Goldschmidt deserves to be here over Vladimir Guerrero Jr., not to mention Murutaka Murakami, who has missed a ton of time. Kurtz, who obviously didn't even make this second round of voting. So, but we're going to take Ben Rice at first base. Pretty clear-cut answer there. Let's move on to shortstop. Another pretty clear-cut decision here between Bobby Witt Jr. and Andres Gimenez. While I respect what Andres Gimenez is as a defender, he's incredible over there at shortstop for that Toronto Blue Jays team. It's Bobby Witt Jr., and I don't think it's particularly close. If I'm not mistaken, I think Bobby Witt Jr. is the B WAR leader right now. I know that he is second to P. Carl Armstrong in F4, who PCA didn't even make this second round of voting for the National League, which I think is absolutely ridiculous in and of itself. But when you look at the two, as far as a statistical comparison between Gimenez and Bobby Witt Jr., it's not close whatsoever. Gimenez has not been even worth a full win this year as far as B-WAR is concerned, where Bobby Witt Jr. is up to 4.3 and is probably either second or third for the American League race in the voting right now at this point in time. This is a pretty clear-cut answer. I think that Bobby Witt Jr. is the best shortstop in the game. If it's not somebody else, it kind of has to be him, correct? So I think that without a doubt, hands down, I respect what Gimenez is as a defender, but he is a far below league average hitter, is not Bobby Witt Jr. He can't really hold his cleats right now. So I think the shortstop, clear-cut answer, it's Bobby Witt Jr. Next, we're going to move to third base, where Kazuma Okamoto is currently only at 33% in the vote. But what I will tell you, as far as the Blue Jays that we've talked about thus far, I think that he is the one that has probably made the biggest push over the past month to start this All-Star game. He has been unbelievable. I know that he had a really slow start out there in Toronto coming over from Japan, but he has been unbelievable. At this point in time, his OPS on the season is now up to 785 with 19 home runs in his rookie year in MLB. But listen, when we come down to the line, we all know who the selection is here. It's going to be Junior Caminero, who has posted a higher OPS to this point in time than Ben Rice, who is my selection at first base, with a 932 OPS, 22 home runs, 49 RBIs, and 3.3 BWAR. This Rays offense has relatively been carried by a Junior Caminero, a Yandy Diaz, a Jonathan Aranda up to this point in the season. The rest of their lineup is kind of just absolutely duds, so it's really just Caminero and a bunch of guys. So I think that he deserves this starting spot. Obviously, right now in the voting, he has a commanding lead over Okamoto in this race, but I will give Okamoto his flowers to the point where I think that he is probably pretty deserving of being here as the third guy. I would shout out Miguel Vargas, who is having an absolute career year out there in Chicago for the White Sox and probably should have been the second place guy on this list. But we're going to go with Caminero, who's been one of the better hitters in the sport this year, has carried the Rays offense up to this point in time. So I think the people have it right here. We're going to go with Caminero to start at third base in the American League. George Springer versus Yordan Alvarez for the designated hitter spot in the American League. Hydrogen Bomb versus Coughing Baby. Right now, Yordan Alvarez has the commanding lead over George Springer for the designated hitter spot. He is currently my pick for the American League MVP. Obviously, there is no Aaron Judge. He is spending an extreme amount of time on the injured list with the injury, but Yordan Alvarez has an OPS that starts with a 1 so far this season with 25 bombs, 56 RBIs, and is good for 3.6 BWAR. George Springer is worth negative 0.1 BWAR this season. He's only played in 62 games. He had the weird injury at the beginning of the season, so he missed about probably a month of the sport, but this is full-on Canada bias versus the realistic American League MVP right now. This race isn't even close, and I think that this is a pattern that we're going to see with Toronto specifically, and then Philadelphia, the host city, as well, as they pushed a lot of their guys into this second ballot as well. But with Yordan Alvarez, this is the American League MVP, right? 3.6 BWAR on the season. He is absolutely mashed. I think that he is back to his 22-23 form where I thought that he was pushing an Aaron Judge before the 62-homer season to be the best hitter in the sport. Obviously, then after that, overnight, Judge hits the 62 home runs, and he is good for a 10-11 WAR season with an 1,100 OPS every single season. So I think the clear-cut choice here has to be Yordan Alvarez, and it's not necessarily close. Shout out Springer what he was last year, but this is Yordan hands down. Let's talk about the catcher position with Alejandro Kirk and Shea Langoliers. Listen, up to this point, Alejandro Kirk has only played in 17 games in 2026 and is worth negative 0.4 BWAR. Yes, negative 0.4 in 17 games this season. He is hitting 183, 231, 317 with a 547 OPS on the season, good for a 48 OPS plus. Shea Langoliers has been one of the better catchers, if not the best catcher in the sport this season, up there with the likes of Drake Baldwin as well, who we're going to talk about at some point in time down the line when I do my National League voting. Listen, this is another Hydrogen Bomb, Coughing Baby situation. Shea Langoliers is worth 3.0 BWAR this season with 19 home runs, 43 RBIs. He's been probably, in my opinion, he's been the best catcher in the sport, right? So what is that Athletics team without Langoliers this year? I'm not particularly sure. Again, this is another case of, hey, Blue Jays got pushed in, but the people are getting it right now. They have Langoliers on top in the voting, which is a theme that I'm starting to see a lot of, which I'm really enjoying because I feel like the majority of people out there that aren't in Canada have voted for the other player compared to the Blue Jay, outside of Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who holds the 55% advantage over Ben Rice at the first base position right now. So this is another just very easy choice. We're going to go with Langoliers here. Now we will move to our final talking point, our outfielders right here. And your current leaders, like I said earlier, are Trout, Buxton, and Judge. Obviously no Judge, so we're going to push Bellinger up into that third spot. And then Jesus Sanchez and Dalton Varsho. I think that these are pretty clear-cut options here. As far as your statistical leaders for this specific position, Bellinger leads in BWAR, Bellinger leads in RBI, Bellinger leads in stolen bases. The advantage here for Jesus Sanchez is he's hitting 274, which is above the pack of everybody else. Byron Buxton leads this category in hits, home runs, slugging percentage, OPS, and OPS plus, while Mike Trout leads in OBP and is tied with Byron Buxton at a 144 WRC+. Dalton Varsho does not have a singular leg up in any of these statistical categories. Jesus Sanchez has been worth negative 0.4 B-WAR this season. So I think that people are also getting it right here. I think that Bellinger is your selection instead of Aaron Judge. And then Buxton, Mike Trout, who Buxton has been worth 3.0 B-WAR this season, with Trout being worth 2.8 B-WAR as well. Dalton Varsho not putting together a horrible season with a 755 OPS, a 104 OPS plus, but Jesus Sanchez has just been so bad defensively that it has absolutely tanked what he has been as a player in 2026. I will give my flowers to Varsho. I think that he is a very talented ball player. However, the two of these players just belong nowhere near what Bellinger has been for the Yankees this year with no Aaron Judge. Buxton putting together another healthy season, which we haven't seen in the past from Byron Buxton. And then Mike Trout, 74 games this year, another healthy season from him too. He deserves the nod to start for the American League in the All-Star game this season. So your selections here, Cody Bellinger, Byron Buxton, Mike Trout, Dalton Varsho, and Jesus Sanchez. You will not be in this All-Star game. Canada, I am sorry. I did not pick any of your guys, but you do have Ernie Clement, who will start at second base for the American League, being the top vote getter after the first phase, which honestly is absolutely insane. So those are your picks for the outfielders. And then my starting pitcher for the American League All-Star team is obviously going to be Cam Schlittler, who is rocking the 1.62 ERA off the top of my head, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think anybody else necessarily deserves the opportunity to start this game in the AL outside of Schlittler. I know that there were some weird blotches at the beginning of the season for Jose Soriano or a Davis Martin or a pitcher of that caliber, but Schlittler has been dominant. He deserves to start the American League All-Star game this year. That's just kind of what it is. And those are my picks for the American League All-Star team in this year's All-Star game. I hope that I wasn't too controversial. Canada, I apologize. I have one of your guys in there, and he's already kind of been pre-selected. So I'm going to flash the team up here right now. That is what my selections will be for the starters this year. If you guys like this kind of content, please let me know. I do want to do National League at some point in time, whether it is tomorrow or a couple of days down the line. So let me know if you guys like this video, different content like this. I'm trying to do something different on FSB. Daily uploads coming from me or Chris over the next couple of weeks. We're really trying to pump a lot of stuff into this channel. Thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, sub. You guys know the deal. And we'll see you later. Thanks for tuning in. Peace out, everybody.